Hello and welcome to this Fireside Chat on CXOTV. I'm your host, Kalpana Singhal. Today we have a special guest with us, Mohua Sengupta, Managing Director, Mashreq Global Network. In this engaging conversation, we'll delve into the world of global services, technology-driven solutions, and the future of global capability centers. Welcome, Mohua.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely to be here. Thanks.
Okay. So, to kick off the discussion, could you provide an overview of your role as Managing Director at Mashreq Global Services Network and the key areas you focus on to drive innovation and efficiency with the organization?
So, as Managing Director of Mashreq Global Network, I have 3 centers. Mashreq has 3 global capability center, or GCCs as we call them. India being the popular one, everybody has a GCC in India, but we also have a GCC in Pakistan, in Karachi, and one in Egypt, Cairo. So I look after all the 3. And so basically, my responsibility is making sure that these 3 MGNs become a true partner to Mashreq Bank in every possible respect. So it's not a very well-defined role like any other MD CEO role. But that's what it is. I mean, whatever happens, as I keep saying, that anything that is happening there, it's here or in Egypt or Pakistan, it's ultimately my responsibility to make sure it's working fine as a true partner to Mashreq.
So, is that only keeping the lights on or more than that?
No, lights on. We have been in lights on mode for a very long time, in India at least. So let me tell you how it was and how old Mashreq Global Network is in India. So we have been there since 2005. We were very small, in a very smaller avatar, only doing technology. And then at some point, operations got insourced from some external vendor. And it remained operations and technology for a while. When I took over in March 2021, we had it as ops and tech only. So since March 2021, the organization had a big drive to grow across different groups. So one thing that differentiates Mashreq's GCC from any other bank's GCC is that we are truly a full service partner of Mashreq. And that's why we changed ourselves from Mashreq Global Services to Mashreq Global Network, because we are literally part of everything that Mashreq does. So Mashreq comprises of 15 groups, and Mashreq Global Network has a big enough representation. It is not a tokenism; it's a big representation of every group. Today, Mashreq Global Network is more than 40% of Mashreq's overall strength. So currently, it is definitely not lights on. It is how to bring more. And more, when I say more, again, given that Mashreq is a very digital bank, we are very focused on becoming a digital bank. We are in that journey. We have been a traditional retail bank, at least in Dubai and Egypt, Cairo, and not just Cairo, I think in Egypt. But we are currently more and more focused towards neobanks. So it's not that we have 100,000 employees. It's overall almost 6,000. And between the 3 MGNs, we are already close to 2,300. So being a head of the GCC, I don't aspire for my goal is not to increase by numbers or headcount. I think that time is over. Currently, what we are focusing on, at least in Mashreq, is to bring more and more senior leadership roles here, which was not the case. It is the trend that we see in every GCC. I think Mashreq has been a front runner in that. And also, while we have been there since 2005, effectively in our current avatar, we are very young. So I think we have taken a lot of leapfrog pretty early on. And besides the traditional growth and strategic growth, getting more leadership roles, we are also focused on driving Mashreq's strategies, core strategies. Some of them, just I want to mention, is distributed working. Then in rest of India or rest of the world, companies are calling their people back to office. We have very openly declared that we are a primarily remote working focused company. In order to do that, it may sound very easy, it may sound very Okay, so then this works. How is it any different for? I mean, it makes your job easy. Actually, not so, because it's much harder to manage a distributed workforce. Imagine onboarding online, virtually, and India is not a one city location, or it is not a small country. It's across. I mean, it stretches across from one corner to another. I mean, it could be a 4-hour flight from one point of India to another. Same goes for Pakistan. So it is a lot of managing this distributed workforce that has been completely driven from MGN. Besides, there are also employee-related to how do you keep your employees energized? How do you imbibe corporate culture? So distributed workforce is one thing that I drive from here. And also there are a few strategic areas which Mashreq focuses on, one being diversity. And in the area of diversity, it is primarily women and people with determination. So those are also two agenda that we drive from here, to the extent that in India, while I'm not too proud of the number, because I'm sure I know we can do better, but we are at 35% diversity, which is definitely not worse than the market. In Pakistan and Egypt, we are at 43% and 54% respectively of women. So I think we are doing, yes, these are fantastic figures, and in countries where the industry norm is much, much, much lower. That's why I said that, well, in India, we definitely can do better, because the industry norm here is in late 20s or early 30s. So we definitely have an improvement opportunity.
Yeah.
Besides that, PWD, if we have to hire, we have to make ourselves more conducive. What roles work better? What doesn't? Security. Distributed workforce comes with its huge security challenge. We kind of kept our eyes closed during, or the rest of the entire world kind of kept our eyes closed or managed somehow during COVID, because we had to. But now we are competing with everybody whose people are coming to office. So there is no excuse that, oh, it's COVID or it's pandemic. It's people are working from home. That's why we are facing this. Working from home is now a choice that we have taken. So security is our core mantra. I mean, we focus on it like nobody's business. I mean, it is a constant focus that we have. So various things. So if I have to say my role in a nutshell, driving Mashreq's core agenda across MGN. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, sure. So that's fantastic. You know, the kind of figures you have shared, and the overall contribution of how Mashreq Global Service Network is contributing, and the overall strategic goals of Mashreq Bank. So that's awesome. So global capacity centers have become integral components of many multinational organizations. So from your perspective, what are the key advantages that global capability centers bring in terms of operational excellence, talent management, and innovation?
So see, when Global Capability Centers started, it started purely as a cost arbitrage game. But that game is over. I mean, I won't say that I won't disregard the cost part, because we do have to manage the cost side. But at the same time, that's not a differentiator anymore. That's not why companies are here. Today, companies are, and I have to say that India is a very popular place for GCCs based on last NASSCOM report. It's 50% of the global GCC revenue comes from India. It's a $50 billion revenue. And I must say that how important this industry has become is very clear from how GCCs are treated by the different governments. Just yesterday, I was in Bangalore Tech Summit, and the Minister of ITBT, Mr. Priyank Kharge, had a session separately with us. And what do we need? What does the GCC? How can the GCCs collaborate? Similarly, if you go to Gift City, there is GCCs are being treated for the first time. Gift City has recognized it as a separate industry. So you can totally see that GCC as an industry is evolving. It's becoming a maker and shaker kind in our economy. So And why is that? Primarily, it is talent. It is talent, and it is talent in high number, high scale. See, for example, what we were discussing yesterday, or not why only yesterday, it has been a core area of discussion with the government in most states, is that how can we make this talent more friendly for the corporates? Because what we study in college is generally not that. So what we are seeing is, one, there is talent. Two, we have a very big young population. Three, the ecosystem is ready. The ecosystem is very helpful. The ecosystem is ready to work with the corporates to kind of change their goal, change their track in order to fit in the corporates. So most countries are seeing that most companies are seeing that while we still do not have a single window for GCCs, it is getting towards that. And that is the commitment we got also, that there is every attempt from the current government to make it a single window for starting GCCs. So many of these things are attracting, but the growth is purely based on talent availability. And this is in spite of the infrastructure that we keep complaining about. However much we complain about the infrastructure, more and more GCCs are coming. So, yes, cost is there, but I think today's game is talent. Today's game is innovation. Today's game is emerging technologies. And today's game is also about reskilling and upskilling. Because today the technology, or even see business, we also struggle with business skills. Actually, I would say we struggle more with the business analyst kind of skills, the industry domain skills, more than technology. Because you don't get to learn business domain skills in colleges or universities. So today that is also changing. How a bank functioned 10 years back is completely different from how a bank functions today. So somebody who knew banking or as a business 10 years back will be completely irrelevant today if there was no training, there was no upskilling, there is no reskilling. I think we've figured that out very well as well. Much as we complain that, yes, technology is changing, we need people to be trained better, universities should partner better, we still think that we have an edge over the rest of the world. So that's the reason GCCs are here, and GCCs are doing well, and GCCs are here to stay.
Yeah, sure. So would you like to highlight some of the partnerships that you have with the university, Femi?
So see what we do, Mashreq, as I said, we have grown in only 2 years, right? In the last 2 years. Until then, it was a very small unit. So today, our partnership is it's not a very strong partnership in the sense that we will hire so many from you. This is our commitment. We work with you. But yes, we do. We have started with some of the top ranked schools in India, where we go, we hire, and we also partner with them on the, I won't say curriculum, but on an advisory basis. I have been always connected to, because that's my way of giving back to the society. So you'll see I'm connected to Narsi Monji Institute for in there. When they first started their digital transformation MBA, they were the first ones to start. I was part of their advisory council, and where we actually actively took part in creating that curriculum. Similarly, you will see I go to a lot of universities where not necessarily, or institutes, not necessarily with the idea of hiring only. It is more to engage and partner with them to make the students coming out of there more corporate friendly. Because I think that's the way the students will be able to start more. I mean, there are larger GCCs who are start early. There are larger GCCs who have now already partnered from second year. So by the time they come out of the universities or the colleges, they are ready with a job, but at the same time, they're more ready to hit the ground running in this particular company, because they've already partnered and picked up the best and the brightest for their corporate, their organization. So different companies are at different levels of these partnerships, but there is no denial that we will have to move that path. We'll have to increase that. And there are multiple things. It's not just going to the university and bringing them. It's also their career path that we have to track. So it's a lot of work and a lot of thinking from the HR side in order to make it successful. Yes, we have started. This has been the year 2023. We have started. We have taken baby steps. Some of our high skill areas, we have gone to the industry, to the institutes. But our goal is to also make it more pervasive, to go more or work closely with some of the other institutes as well. But having said that, one more point, we all are going to the same large, big, top tier 1 or very high tier 2, not even tier 2, even within tier 1, the top ones. That has to change, and that's why we need to do the partnership, because partnering with IIM is one thing, and partnering with a tier 2 institute is another thing. I think that's where we need to start looking at, and that's where if we can together work between government, universities, and the GCCs or any corporate, I think that's what will be a real win, because IIM has more or less figured it out. IITs have figured it out. They're already giving the CEOs of the global CEOs. So how much more can them? So
completely agree with you, because on one side we talk about the shortage of talent, especially when it comes to deep technology.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I think there are a lot of institutes, the educational institutes in tier 2 and 3, wherein students are not been able to get the placement. So there is a wide gap which has to be taken.
And for getting the placement, it cannot, that's the point I was trying to drive. It cannot start with getting a placement. It has to start earlier, so that we work with them to make their students more friendly ready to join the corporate. So it needs to go back a few years and start a little early. So yes, GCCs have a big role to play if we want to grow much further, but it's a huge growth story. It's a huge growth story for us.
Yeah, sure. So, kind of changing my gears, what are the prominent changes you have seen in customer expectations in the last couple of years, and how are GCCs adapting their success to meet the changing demands of customers?
Sorry, you're asking about banks customers, or how? Can you please repeat the question? I don't think I got it.
Yeah, so I was asking that what are the prominent changes you have seen in the customer expectations in the last couple of years, and how are GCCs adapting their services to meet the changing demands of customers? So your specialization is banking, so maybe you can talk from bank's perspective, or otherwise overall.
Okay. So as I say, my joke is customers of banks today, the Gen Z customers of banks, are worse than Bengali mothers. We want our kids to be Einsteins in studies and Tansen in music and Uday Shankar in dance. I think the Gen Z customers of banks are exactly that. Whatever you do, they want everything in their fingertip. They want everything. Banks are no longer a separate identity. Banks are a part of life now. So a Gen Z would want the bank to be there. Fine, I'm back home at 2:00 after partying. I need something. I need the bank to be there with me. So that's how banks have evolved, or the expectation has evolved. Technology has made it possible. Social media, the growth of social media has made it possible. Banks had to step up and to meet that expectation, because today, see, the banks are not just competing with other banks. Today, we compete with the Amazons, the Googles, everybody who has any oblique way of getting into banking territory will get into banks territory. Starbucks, they have the largest cash flow. They manage such a huge fund. How? Because we keep those funds in the card, right? So Starbucks is also providing, in a way, competing with you for your savings bank. Huh? So
lot of disruptions.
Secondly, the size is previously nobody would try to compete with SBI, right? Because of its girth. It was huge what SBI can do. How can I compete with them? Today, the girth doesn't help. Today, a small fintech can come and disrupt you if they have the right solution. People have become more risk averse. My dad would not go to a fintech for his banking need and would love to walk into a bank and stand with his token for 1 hour in a queue because of the security. They didn't have the risk-taking appetite that we have. Today, nobody, forget about Gen Z. I wouldn't go and stand in queue in a bank if I have to for raising cash, taking money. So people's mindset has also changed. So given all of this, banks are now in a very tight spot. The only way banks can compete is by customer experience, offering better customer experience. So all our focus is now on customer experience. We in the GCCs sit far away from the customers. The one single goal that ties us with the overall agenda is customer excellence. So whatever you do, even when it is, say, an admin, a person doing something for the employees, the idea is the final goal is customer excellence, because the admin person has to help the employee in a way that the employee is in a better way to provide better customer service. So that's our focus. And I think not just Mashreq, that is the only way banks will survive. Yeah. Because it is not easy to be a bank today. No.
So banking revolves around customer experience now.
Completely. Banking revolves completely. See, before, customer experience was not, when I was a child, customer experience was not a thing that banks would think about. It's the security, the risk-free, how much more, and see, products used to be a differentiator. Today, everybody has in fact, the whole concept of products for banks are going to be passé very soon. Soon there will be customized products for all. I mean, we are talking about a segment of one, etc. But very soon there will be, what do you want? I will provide you the banking needs, the products that you need.
Oh, that's really interesting. You mean to say they will be having customized products for individuals?
So today also we have it, right? Today also, if you think about it, there is so much of customization, especially when you go to a completely low, and if you go to a private banking area, that kind of space, you will see a lot of customized product. Okay, I give you want loan, fine, I'll give you loan. The loan is same. But how I package your loan, what else comes with it? Credit cards, we all get to see, right? How much more? A credit card is no longer just a credit card. It has so much more bells and whistles and packages, and we actually see it. Yeah. We actually see what else we get from the credit card, right? So today the products are already getting customized, but I'm just saying that still we have some concept of products. Very soon it will truly become a customized to a segment of one kind of a product scenario. So banks have no other way. So all the edges that banks had, all the areas of competing that the banks had, all are gone. Today, the only way the banks can compete is customer experience. And today's, the loyalty towards banks is also gone, right? So if you provide a better customer service, I will jump ship tomorrow.
Yeah. So talking more about India, so like we know that India happens to be the preferred destination for GCCs, with almost 50% of GCCs globally located in the country. So what are the reasons behind this, and how do you see the space going further in India?
So see, reasons, as I've already touched upon in one of my earlier discussions, the ecosystem. I think our ecosystem is ready. Our ecosystem is more than ready. Our ecosystem makes it industry friendly, which was not the case. See, India has always had talent. India always had a large population. So that was not an issue before. I think now it is a confluence of everything. We have the talent. We have the global talent, in the sense because of this whole globalization that we have seen in the early 90s, from the early 90s. Today's kids, when I say kids, I mean people who are young people. They have all traveled the world. They have experienced foreign education, everything. So they are more globally agile, globally exposed. So educationally, always our educational institutes were cream. And we are seeing that in the number of global CEOs that are there who are not young today. I mean, they have been the product of the institutes for the last 30, 40, 50 years. So education was always there, good quality education. High population we always had. What has come together with it is this, thanks to the globalization, the more globally exposed employees. And today, our ecosystem is completely ready, welcoming. I have never seen before that government works with corporates so closely. Today, the government has understood or accepted that this is the only way to go.
Yeah.
I think that is making it really easy for companies to come and set up their shop um, and just start from there. And of course, certain cities do better. Within India, also, you'd see Bangalore or Hyderabad or Chennai or Gurgaon are doing better just because of the confluence of talent. So it's just easier. Yes, it's easy to lose your talent also. People will run tomorrow for a different job, but at the same time, it's much easier to get talent because everybody's here. So I think that's India definitely has a huge advantage because if you look at the population and educational institute, one advantage we have is English. Other highly who have good education do not have as much spoken English or perfect spoken English as India. This overall, and it is also it's a cycle. So when it started 20 years back there or 25 years back, there could have been some issues which got ironed out. So we have learned in the process, making India the favorite destination. So everything else kind of feeds into it. So now everyone is taking, so the universities have realized that, okay, if I have to capture this, I will have to play ball with them. Ecosystem has fallen in place. Students have started equipping themselves more for the corporate. So I think everything is now in a right spot. So it is doing well. And I'm pretty sure we can only go, if we don't do something really big blunder, which I don't think we would, I think it's just going to be a growth story for GCCs.
Oh, that's awesome. So please talk about your top focus areas and priorities of the next 2 to 3 years.
So again, I think I've jumped the gun a lot because that also I've touched upon before. One is definitely the distributed working, to make our distributed working not just okay, but fun and good. So how we are looking at, we are really reinventing how we look at our people. So how we engage with our employees, what kind of support they need at onboarding, how smooth can we make an exit process, even when the person is far away? How can we give them corporate culture? How can we give them the best of both worlds of mostly remote, but once in a while an on-site, off-site kind. So bring the group of people to office. So we are trying all sorts to make our work arrangement the best in the world. So that is our goal, because we also compete for great place to work. Now, what is your place to work? For us, great place to work is the employees' homes. How can we make that better? That is our goal. That is one of my key goals. 2, it is the diversity. To make Mashreq is completely focused on making Mashreq Bank or Mashreq Global Network a best place to work for women. We are too small in a country like India or Pakistan, where the population is huge. There are companies who are 100 times bigger than us. So competing for everybody may not be that easy for us. But I think we can easily become the best place to work for women. That's a focus. We do a lot of things. Our policies have been geared towards that. For the last 2 years, we are driving it with the right earnest. PWD, I already talked to you about, person with determination. We are focused on hiring people, especially given that we are a remote working company or a primarily remote working company. It is easier for us to drive that. So these, and bringing more and more senior role, more decision-making role to the MGNs. These are my core or key focus areas.
Yeah. So when we talk about, remote working, so there's a follow-up question. How are you dealing with deceptions like great resignations and mood lightning?
So see, we are taking it one day at a time. Great resignation, yes, but to be honest with you, our attrition has come down substantially because employees are seeing the value in remote working. We recently had a remote workers survey, and 85% of our employees said they're very happy. So our attrition, I think somewhere in 2020, we had a very high attrition. 2021 onwards, I've had a focus on reducing it. And we were still hovering around 23, 24, which is the industry average. Now we are in single digit. So yes, much as we would like to feel that, not like too much as we apprehend that, oh, they're far away, there is no loyalty. Well, loyalty, yes, of course, there is loyalty when you come and build a relationship. But loyalty also comes from what works for you. See, if you have a young child at home and you have the luxury of working from home, you would think twice before quitting for the next high-paying job. So what we have seen is it has really improved our attrition percentage. What it has also done is, so mostly this attrition, and the other thing is we do have and I have to say that we haven't figured everything out. We are, as I said, we are all learning. Every day is experiment. Every day we are trying to do new things. I'm just coming out of a meeting with the CSR committee, where we were thinking, we are planning that can we arrange a CSR in another city just to make it an employee engagement opportunity for the people in that city. So we are trying to brainstorm every day. We haven't got it figured out, but we are all focused on making this distributed working, not just, as I said, not just good or okay, but fun. So that, and there are always some people for whom it doesn't work. So that we have to accept. It is not everything. It's not a one size fits all. Here also, employees are customers, employees are clients. We have to make it possible. I mean, what works for who? We have flexibility of work time. So it is completely between the employee, and unless the role demands a person to work from a certain time to a certain time, it's completely between the employee and his or her manager to decide that, okay, I need this 2 hours in between to take care of my child, and I will come join back. That is exclusively between the manager and the employee. There is nothing that the company would step in and intervene. So we are trying.
So that's about how you are dealing with, as you said, that the attrition percentage rate has gone down when it comes to Great Resignation. And how about moonlighting?
So moonlighting, yes. So we have had one case of moonlighting. See, moonlighting, it is not very difficult to catch it. I mean, it's just, before we never used to think about it, right? It was nowhere in our cards. We have to, as I said, security is a big issue. Moonlighting is a security issue, potential security issue. It's a matter of us equipping ourselves through technology. The reason, the way we found, or we got to know this one person who was moonlighting, is also by technology. So, as I said, we are evolving. Every day we have brainstorming session. What can or cannot be done, and how can we catch it, and how can we equip ourselves? Not so much just catching. How can we equip ourselves to better address this problem? But absolutely, moonlighting is a problem. That remote working actually, helps. But if somebody wants to moonlight, they can moonlight after working a full day's work, doing a full day's work.
Byproduct. Yeah, it's a byproduct of remote work.
It is a byproduct, but what I'm saying is maybe it has become more pervasive. But it can, if you think about it, it can easily be done even when you're working full time. You can go to office, you can still moonlight in another hour, right?
Yeah.
The idea of moonlighting is not that you don't work in it. It's not that, okay, you're working in my time.
So like giants like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, are against moonlighting, as you know.
Everybody is against moonlighting. So what I'm saying is, moonlighting is not just because you're working during my time. Moonlighting is also if you work in something else which is competition to me,
Security, yeah.
It's a security issue. Even if you come to office full day for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, go back home and use my infrastructure to work for some other bank, some other company, some other company, it is a security issue. So yes, remote working makes it easier, but it is doable even when you are coming to office. So, but yes, you're absolutely right. We have our antennas more than straight to catch it, because yes, we have to, as the back end, or as I won't call it a back end, that's a bad word, as the technology hub for the entire world, we have a responsibility to address this issue. We cannot falter, because it's all about reputation. You had asked that why India is growing so fast. It is all about reputation, because we have a fantastic reputation. Our GCCs have really done well because of this reputation. And one or two of these incidents can really jeopardize our reputation. So we can't afford that.
Yeah. So it's more like things are evolving, and the compliances and we place proper guidelines, and
Yes.
maybe how the company interest has to be safeguarded, right, in terms of moonlighting. Lot of work has to be done.
Everything we are all evolving, right, on a regular basis. So as long as we don't feel that, okay, we have arrived and sit on our high horses, that's when problem starts. As long as we are open to the idea that everything is new challenges. And today, hacking, there's one way of hacking. If we block that, some other way of hacking comes in. It's just like that. Everything is evolving because technology is evolving. So we just need to stay at it. You've never arrived. You just don't arrive anymore. You arrive to one point, something else comes up. You have to keep thinking and brainstorming and changing course on an as needed basis. And I think we are, as a company, we are ready for that. We have been ready for that. So I guess that it's the right time for us to take the leap.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap up, if you can share, looking ahead, what trends and advances do you see in the GCC, and how do you plan to stay at the forefront of these developments?
So, see, GCCs, as I said, no longer plays the number game, or most GCCs do no longer play the number game, because the number game will not last. Too many people is not what any organization wants today, right? We want to be efficient. We want to have more AI. We want to have people for where people's brains are most beneficial. So just like them, we are probably a one notch above, because we are more a neobank. We do not focus on the number game. Our focus is more high-end people, more leadership here, more decision-making roles here, more innovation hubs here. And when I say innovation hub, it is not innovation is no longer in a lab. Because if innovation is in a lab, it stays there. Innovation has to be across board. Everybody should be a part of that innovation, and not just the technology team, not just the digital studio, not just the digital lab. So, for example, in India MGN, we had training, digital transformation training, or digital training for all, not so much transformation, digital technology training or understanding training for even operations or other people who are not even working on technology, just so that they are also part of the innovation. They understand what's going on. So innovation has to be in the DNA of the company. And that's something we try to drive. And that is a Mashreq-wide initiative. I cannot say that we just drive it in MGN. It is a Mashreq-wide initiative, which we are big time partnering on. And third, we have to have more and more brighter, better, smarter women all across Mashreq Global Network. That's the other thing that we are very, very focused on, very serious about it. Every people manager in Mashreq has it as their goal. We all get pulled up if we don't meet that goal. So it is not a number game for us. For us, it is across levels. It is not that, okay, in my junior level, I get 50% women and that's it, I'm done. No, it has to be across level. How many direct reports you have. So the minute it comes to direct reports, you are more conscious on quality. So it is for us, it is not a number game. We are looking for the best and the brightest of women who can come and make a difference for the company.
Yeah. Right. So thank you, Mohua, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. It was a pleasure having you on CXO TV.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.